Hello, friends. You've just unlocked another chapter of the past, hidden, untold, and waiting to be discovered. This is Buried Truths. Let's view the video. In 2024, deep in the icy heart of the Himalayas, climbers stumbled upon the mummified remains of a mountaineer lost for decades. That man was William Astempfl. This is the haunting tale of his life, his passion for climbing, and how his frozen body unlocked one of mountaineering's great mysteries. William Astempfl was not a household name, but in the alpine world, he was quietly respected. Born in Austria in 1973, he grew up surrounded by mountains. From his teenage years, he showed an unusual affinity for climbing, often scaling near vertical cliffs others wouldn't dare touch. Nature became both his companion and obsession. In his 20s, William began attempting some of the world's highest peaks. He climbed in the Alps, Andes, and finally, the Himalayas. Unlike commercial climbers, he shunned fame, avoided sponsors, and never gave interviews. His climbs were personal quests, driven by solitude and survival, not headlines or money. Friends described him as humble, soft-spoken, but relentless in pursuit of summits. He kept meticulous journals and recorded each climb in quiet detail. Yet there was something tragic in his silence, an unspoken tension between man and mountain. Even those closest to him admitted they never fully understood what truly drove him. In 1996, William joined a small, underfunded team to summit a little-attempted route on Makalu, Earth's fifth highest peak. The climb was extremely risky due to unpredictable avalanches and sudden storms. The expedition had no media coverage and limited resources. It would be William's last known adventure, after which he vanished without a trace. Initial search efforts were minimal, as bad weather swept through the Himalayas. William's disappearance went largely unnoticed beyond his local mountaineering circle. His family hoped he'd return, but as months passed, hope turned to grief. With no body, no gear, and no answers, his name faded into climbing folklore. For nearly 28 years, William Astempfl became a ghost of the Himalayas. No one knew whether he'd fallen into a crevasse or been buried by snow. But the legend of the silent climber endured, whispered on cold slopes where only the wind and ice remembered his final climb. Makalu, standing at 27,138 feet, is one of the most unforgiving peaks in the Himalayas. With knife-edge ridges and sudden storms, it's less trafficked than Everest, but deadlier. William Astempfl chose the northwest route, a path so remote and treacherous it had claimed lives before. He was aware of the risks. The expedition was minimalist: 3 climbers, limited oxygen, and basic gear. William believed modern tech dulled the spirit of real climbing. He carried an ice axe, analog altimeter, a journal, and no GPS. Their base camp was isolated, and communication with the outside world was unreliable at best. The climb began in late April 1996. Weather forecasts were sparse, and the team relied on instinct and mountain signs. For the first few days, things went smoothly. They crossed glacial valleys and steep ice faces, taking photos and keeping daily logs. Spirits were high, despite the looming dangers above. By day 6, they reached 7,000 meters, entering the death zone, where oxygen drops dangerously low. Every step became harder. One climber fell ill and turned back. That left only William and his teammate Marcus. They decided to continue the push to the summit despite worsening clouds and dropping temperatures. On May 3rd, at approximately 7,600 meters, William's last journal entry was made. It mentioned strong winds, snow flurries, and the phrase, "Ice, God's whisper again." After that, radio silence. No summit photos, no calls. Marcus was also never seen again. Both men vanished somewhere near the summit ridge. It's believed they were hit by a sudden whiteout or avalanche. Their planned return date came and went. No distress signals, no visual confirmation. In the world of high-altitude climbing, when contact ends, hope fades fast. Within days, their names were added to the long list of Makalu's lost. William's team was never found during the initial searches. Harsh weather erased any tracks. For decades, only speculation existed. Did they reach the summit? Did they fall? Were they buried under ice? The mountain kept its secrets, until one body, preserved by cold and silence, finally returned from the death zone. When William Astempfl and Marcus failed to return from Makalu, a chill swept through the climbing world. No radio, no flare, no footprints, just a wall of silence. Their absence triggered a slow realization. Something had gone terribly wrong. But in the world's highest wilderness, even tragedy can vanish like mist. The team's families were notified, but bad weather halted all immediate search efforts. Helicopter reconnaissance was impossible due to fierce winds. Fellow climbers, stationed at nearby peaks, attempted to scan Makalu's western face through binoculars, but saw nothing. The storm had buried not just the men, but the trail itself. By the second week, a ground search was attempted by Sherpa volunteers. They navigated crevasses and thin air to reach the last known coordinates. There they found nothing, no tent, no discarded rope, no food cache. It was as if the mountain had swallowed the climbers whole, without a trace. Rumors spread quickly. Some believed they died in an avalanche. Others suspected they fell off the summit ridge. Conspiracy theorists even proposed a secret climb gone wrong. But without bodies or gear, no theory could be confirmed. William and Marcus simply disappeared, two names fading into the unforgiving snow. Despite limited press coverage, their story began circulating in elite mountaineering circles. Climbers spoke of them in hushed tones. Some claimed to hear voices near the ridge. Others said their ghostly figures appeared in fog. Myths formed around their last climb, fueled by the mystery and the silence they left behind. William's parents held a quiet memorial service a year later in Innsbruck. A stone marked with his name overlooked the Alps he once loved. The pain of not knowing haunted his family. Theirs was not just grief, but a gaping hole of unanswered questions buried beneath 8,000 meters of ice. Years turned into decades. The mountain moved on. Seasons shifted snowdrifts, covering all memory. New climbers ascended, unaware of the story beneath their boots. But fate had not closed the book on William Astempfl. Deep within Makalu's frozen heart, his body waited, silent, preserved, and destined to be found. In May 2024, nearly 28 years after his disappearance, William Astempfl was found. A group of international climbers on a new route stumbled upon a shocking sight. A preserved human body protruding from the ice. His face, frozen in time, stared out silently from the place where he had perished. The body was located around 7,700 meters, just below the summit ridge. His clothes were intact, equipment frozen beside him. One of the climbers, a veteran alpinist, immediately sensed it was someone long lost. Photographs were taken, GPS coordinates marked. The team didn't touch the body. It had become part of the mountain. Back at base camp, they alerted Nepalese authorities. News quickly spread. The name William Astempfl resurfaced after decades of silence. Experts matched his clothing and gear to 1990s-era equipment. The journal found beside him, partially frozen, contained a final cryptic entry. Summit within reach. Sky gone dark. Breathing thin. The discovery ignited the global mountaineering community. Tributes poured in. William's parents, now elderly, were informed. DNA tests confirmed the identity. For many, the mystery was over, but it came with a strange twist. Marcus, his climbing partner, was still missing. Only William's body had emerged from the ice. The body's positioning suggested he had fallen while descending. A gash on his helmet and broken crampons indicated a possible slip. Yet, his backpack was intact, as were his goggles and gloves. It appeared he had stopped to rest, then died of exhaustion or exposure, just hours from safety. Climbers described the site as hauntingly peaceful. The snow had formed a natural sarcophagus. His eyes were closed, mouth slightly open, hands resting on his chest. It was as if the mountain had preserved him intentionally, letting him be found only when the time was right. A ghost returned to history. Though some debated retrieving the body, his family requested he remain on the mountain. They believed it was where he belonged. A new plaque now marks the site. Here rests William Astempfl, who climbed into silence. His story, once buried in snow, had finally returned from the cold. William Astempfl's body was more than a frozen corpse. It was a time capsule. Every detail told a story long buried beneath Makalu's snow. From his clothing to his journal, everything remained preserved. Experts analyzed the site carefully, knowing the ice held more than just tragedy. It held truth. The gear he carried revealed his minimalist philosophy. No satellite phone, no locator beacon. His ice axe was worn smooth from use. His boots were laced tightly. A tucked-away envelope. In his jacket bore letters to his family, never sent. One note read, "I must stand where few men have." Medical examiners used photos and core temperature data to estimate his time of death. He likely perished hours after his last journal entry. There were no major injuries beyond a head wound, possibly from a fall. Hypothermia appeared to be the cause. He sat upright, frozen mid-rest, arms folded peacefully. Surprisingly, the journal included coordinates and sketches of a previously undocumented crevasse system near the summit. These pages are now used by modern climbers to avoid hidden dangers. William unknowingly mapped deadly terrain while climbing for glory. His final gift to future mountaineers was knowledge drawn from the edge of death. DNA samples and blood traces suggested he was low on oxygen, but not sick. Analysis of food wrappers indicated he had rationed meals carefully. His final days weren't marked by panic, but methodical survival. It's now believed he tried to descend after Marcus disappeared, alone, outmatched, yet composed, until the ice end. The condition of the body was astonishing. Thanks to sub-zero temperatures and glacial conditions, William was almost perfectly preserved. His skin bore signs of frostbite, but facial features remained recognizable. Experts likened it to natural mummification, his presence trapped in time. His death was tragic, but his preservation became historic. Perhaps most chillingly, one sentence in the final page of his journal read, "I don't think I'm alone." No other footprints were found, no Marcus, no other climbers nearby. That line still fuels debate. Was it hallucination, fear, or had something else happened on Makalu no one could explain? William Astempfl's discovery reopened wounds but also brought closure. His story became legend, not just for how he died, but how he lived. A climber who pushed beyond fear, who sought purity in danger, who left behind more than footprints. His legacy now lives between rock, snow, and the hearts he touched. Innsbruck held a second memorial, this time with photographs from the Makalu discovery. Former climbing partners shared stories of William's humility, his iron will, and quiet humor. Students at his old mountaineering school now study his final climb as a case in high-altitude survival, resilience, and the cost of obsession. His preserved body became a global symbol, not of death, but devotion. Museums displayed his journal, copies and climbing equipment replicas. Climbers visiting Makalu now stop at his plaque, leaving carabiners as tribute. In life, he climbed for himself. In death, he became a beacon for others chasing the sky. Writers, filmmakers, and mountaineering historians flocked to his story. A documentary, Frozen Above the World, aired across Europe. Interviews with search team members, experts, and Astempfl's family painted a full picture. The film emphasized not just the man lost, but the meaning found in his rediscovery. Young climbers, inspired by his tale, began new traditions. Before summit attempts, they read from William's journal. Some carry tokens with his name. Others trace his final route, honoring both his courage and caution. His memory shaped a new generation's respect for mountains, not as trophies, but sacred tests of spirit. Despite all recognition, questions still linger. What happened to Marcus? What did William mean by, "I don't think I'm alone"? The mountain offered answers in silence. Perhaps that was his final message. Some truths, like the summit, can't be reached, only approached with awe, humility, and quiet reverence. William's name is now etched in mountaineering history, not for fame or records, but for enduring spirit. He reminds us that those who disappear into the mountains don't vanish, they become part of them. In Makalu's shadow, his legend endures, wind-blown, ice-bound, and immortal in the hearts of those who dare. Thanks for watching Buried Truths. If you enjoyed uncovering the hidden corners of history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more powerful stories from history's hidden vault. See you in the next video.